Hey guys, welcome back to PristineZReads, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Roman, the Twelve, and the King by Jenny L. Coates. If you look at my profile picture on my channel, this is the exact same book I am holding. Well, going like this. Okay? Fun fact, exact same book that I'm holding. I just wanted to pick a pretty thick book. I mean, I've read thicker before, but this is pretty thick. So, big books forever. I love big books. Anyways. That was weird. I don't know what was happening there, guys. Anyways, I just stopped wasting time and we'll get into the summary. So, The Roman, the Twelve, and the King is kind of a retelling almost of Jesus' life, but it also packs in the life of George F. Handel. And in case you don't know who that is, which you should, George F. Handel is the composer of The Messiah. Now, I cannot sing very well, so I'm not going to torture you by singing the chorus. You know, the Hallelujah chorus. You sing it at Christmas time. I don't know if you sing it at Christmas time. You sing it at Christmas time. Anyways, it's very famous. You should have heard of it. If not, go look him up later. Anyways, yeah, so it also packs in the life of George F. Handel. Yeah, we start with the animals in the 17th century, London, and they are currently living in the home of Handel. So they receive one of their most important missions yet, which is to influence Handel's composing of Messiah. So recently Handel had been going through some like scorn and discouragement because like the art of opera was dying and like nobody was listening to his stuff. They were all going to other people to listen to music and stuff. So yeah, he's kind of like struggling in the world and the animals are assigned to help him. So how they're gonna do this is that one of the animals, hint, 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 is going to be playing the violin of the music of Messiah in Handel's ear while he sleeps. So that's going to inspire Handel to actually like write the music for Messiah. So yeah, pretty cool. But the problem is they don't make mouse-sized violins, guys. So they have to make one. So they find a stick bug to assist them in their task. The stick bug because he had been in the home of one of the world's greatest violin makers, something Italian, I forget. He'd been in the home of one of the world's greatest violin makers, and now he's going to help the animals make this tiny mouse-sized violin. Anyway, so yeah, they make the violin, but the enemy is not happy about this because, like, who would want people singing about your greatest enemy? So that is, like, charlatans thinking there. So, of course, he doesn't want Messiah, in this case, the oratorio Messiah, to be born, so to speak, composed, what I want to say. So yeah, so he's going to try and stop the animals from doing so. But anyways, the animals have to travel back in time to Jesus' life, and that's because they need a fresh passion for the birth of Jesus if they're going to be writing and composing about the birth of Jesus. Well, just Jesus in general, I guess. Jesus. So they go back in time to experience his life, and yeah, along the way they need to collect items for Nigel to make his violin. And I won't tell you what these items are here anyways because this is the no spoiler part, but I will tell you, spoiler people, when we get to the spoiler part. Anyways, continuing on. So the animals have to go and find these little pieces of stuff for Nigel to make his violin. And now this is going to prove a little more difficult than you would think because the animals kind of had their memories wiped before they went and traveled back in time so that they wouldn't act differently than anything they had acted like before when it actually happened. So yeah, they had to like kind of not really know what was going on so they wouldn't change anything that happened. Anyways, yeah, so if you read the Bible, you know how Jesus' life ends and begins again. Yeah, so I guess kind of like the real thing you probably wouldn't like know fully about is Handel's life, which kind of remains to be spoiled later. So no spoiler, people, your timestamp is in the description. Please go click on it and I'll take you back to the non-spoiler section. Anyways, spoiler people, hello. Glad you're still here. So moving on, the animals travel through Jesus' life. They come right back into his life kind of when Jesus is like a toddler and he's gonna find out that he is the Messiah. So this is a really interesting take on this, and it was really quite a touching scene with kind of Mary and Joseph and Jesus. They had to like tell him that he was the Messiah and God had all this stuff planned for him, and Jesus is like just suddenly like, oh my word, I am actually God. And he's just like, phew. And it's just so kind of like touching because like it's so sweet, like Mary and Joseph and Jesus. And so Jesus goes to kind of like, you know, just talk with God and kind of get to know him more, because I mean like he's Jesus' dad. And then so God also tells him about the animals, Max, Liz, Kate, Al, and Nigel. Max and Kate are currently shepherd dogs. Liz and Al live with Mary and Joseph, and Nigel is just kind of like roaming around doing as he pleases. So the animals finally get to know Jesus, and it's just all touching because Jesus can like speak their languages too. So he speaks to Liz in French, and like speaks to Max in like a Scottish accent, and yeah, it's kind of funny. They experience Jesus' life all the way up through his crucifixion, which I have to say was honestly like so sad, guys. Like it literally brought me to tears. Okay, just the way she wrote it was like so powerfully emotional. Like it just had really like a weight of gravity and depth to it that was just really sobering, but then also she brought like great joy into his resurrection. So yeah, I mean, kind of like Christmas and Easter, you can't have crucifixion without resurrection, and you can't have resurrection without crucifixion. Don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. Anyways, but yeah, so the animals find their 3 items from Jesus' lifetime. The first one, for Nigel's bow of the violin, was a reed from the banks of the Jordan River where Jesus was baptized. I have number 2 for the violin string and stuff. It was a horsehair that came from a horse that Jesus had healed. And backstory, guys, this horse belonged to the son of the Roman centurion Marcus Antonius, who I told you about in the last video. His son, Armandus Antonius, had a horse and it got injured. Jesus healed it. So the horsehair is some horse that was healed by Jesus. And the last item for the body of the violin is probably like the most precious. It is a piece of wood taken from the sign that hung on Jesus' cross. And you know, the sign read, "Here's the King of the Jews." Something like that. And you know, it was written in like Latin, I want to say. Well, in all languages. It was written in 3 languages, I think. So they took the piece of wood that had an R on it. The R was in Rex, which stood for king, you know, Rex, king. So, because, you know, Jesus is the true king. So they took the piece with the R on it. Anyways, yeah, so that's so cool. They had those 3 items, and now they got transferred, back to the 17th century, where they have to compose music for Handel. So yeah, they quickly built Nigel's violin, and every night Nigel plays some music in Handel's ear, and the next day Handel like writes it down really fast on his composing piece of paper, and the book ends at the premiere of Handel's Messiah. But anyways, and at the premiere of Messiah, an incredible thing happens, really. So the animals see Jesus sitting in the balcony, and the reason why they know it's Jesus is because they see him clapping, and on his hands are 2 nail scars. And then he looks at the animals, and then he disappears. Anyways, yeah, so that was an amazing ending, and yeah, that's the end of my summer, you guys. Hey, onto the worldviews. Hello, non-spoiler people. We're at the worldviews now. So yeah. For the fourth time, Jenny Elcoat is a Christian author, and I found nothing theologically wrong or incorrect about here. Honestly, her portrayal of Jesus' life was just so amazing. The detail she poured into it, just the right amount of action and sobering teaching at the same time. And there was just really like so much to learn here. I could see she really took some scripture and kind of like phrased it in a really simple conversational manner so that it's easy for like kids to understand too. Yeah, anyways, so I found no other prominent worldviews really in this book. Foul language. Of course, like the Pharisees accused Jesus of blaspheming God, which, you know, makes no sense because Jesus is God, but obviously the Pharisees didn't know that, so they thought Jesus was blaspheming him. So, you know, there were some like accusations of that, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's like next to nothing, guys. Okay, moving on to violence. I can't really say there's little here because, I mean, Jenny Elcoat did give a pretty good description of the entire like Roman scourging and then the crucifixion that happened. So, I mean, again, she did it with like just enough detail so that we would know exactly what Jesus had to go through and endure for us. And just so that like we would know that it's like a serious deal. It's not just like some kind of like spanking you get and that's it. But there wasn't like so much that we'd be like passing on from all the blood either. So yeah, she gives a parental warning in the beginning that says, note to parents, chapter 60 through 62 contains scourging and crucifixion scenes, although written with great care with children in mind. If you have any concerns about such graphic detail, please read these chapters before or with your child. So yeah, she gives parental warning in the beginning, which I think is pretty good. So parents, again, if you're concerned about this, you can like read those chapters by yourself too and just see how you look. I mean, some children are like more sensitive to that than others, so of course, you know, every kid is different. For me, it was like just enough to like literally make me cry, but like for some children it probably like will make them cry a lot more than I did. Yeah, and for some kids it might not really affect them at all. Let's go to romance. There was little to zero here. I really can't think of anything. The only things, wait, I suppose I lied there, sorry. The only things I could think of was when there's like the adulterous woman and then like the Pharisees are trying to like stone her, but then, you know, Jesus like stopped them. Like he was writing the names in the dirt, and then he said to the woman like, go and sin no more. And then there's also the Samaritan woman at the well who Jesus first told that he was like the Messiah. And the woman had been like a prostitute and she had had like 5 husbands or something. And then Jesus told, and then, you know, Jesus like dining with sinners and tax collectors, prostitutes. But again, I don't know, there's not like detail, I don't know. This is really weird. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, just know that it's all like appropriate. There's nothing like explicitly inappropriate here. Okay, moving on. Alcohol. Yes, people drink wine back then. People still drink wine now. Jesus drank wine. He turned the water into wine. And there's like a scene when they were like, you know, stomping grapes to make wine. Moving on to my rating recommended age level. So I'm gonna rate this one 5 stars. This is my favorite book in the entire series. And I like to say that books that make me cry are like some of the best books that are like worth reading. And not that they're like super depressing and morbid throughout the entire book, but like this is like just the right mix of like emotional sadness, and yet it's also like whimsical and heartwarming, and yeah, so this has a really good mix of like all emotions and just the right amount of humor as well. So yeah, anyways, I really love this. This is my favorite book in the entire series, so 5 stars. Yeah, okay, so my My recommended age level is 10 to 11 plus. I'm leaning towards more of the 11 side because, you know, of like some of the detail and stuff during the crucifixion scenes. Again, parents, if you want to like read those chapters ahead of time and see how they work for your kid, then yeah, please do so. And if you're like just watching this video by yourself, use your own discretion. Like, you know, if you're one of those people that kind of like just breaks down in tears every time you see like some kind of blood, then probably not for you. If you could just skip those chapters or read them with somebody else, I don't know. Yeah, so others, like, I highly recommend this. It's amazing. I really can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. And it was also super cool how like she kind of like stuffed Handel and Jesus all into one book. Like, you know, the transition from the idea of the oratorio Messiah all the way through the birth, like through the life of Jesus, and then back to the actual composing of Messiah, the oratorio. And I also like learned a bunch about like music and stuff in general, because I'm probably not the most educated person when it comes to music, so this was really educational as well. Anyways, yeah, so that's it for my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye! The servant came back with a hot mug and placed it before Handel. "Here we are, sir. Now, what will you have for supper?" "Please bring me," Handel said as he studied the menu, "a ham, 3 helpings of potatoes, 3 helpings of roasted vegetables, and an apple pie. Yeah, that should be enough."
The only changes I would make to that order are, please bring me a whole cow, a ham, some bacon, a chicken, a turkey, 6 helpings of vegetables, 6 helpings of potatoes, 3 apple pies, a blueberry pie, and a strawberry crumble. Yeah, that should be enough.
The servant's eyes grew wide, and he nodded as he took the menu from Handel. "Very well, sir. You must be having guests," the waiter thought as he headed to the kitchen. After several more moments had passed, Handel noticed the servant delivering food to the other tables. He began to grow irritated. "You," Handel gestured to the servant who came running to the table. "Why do you keep me so long waiting?" The servant held out his hands as if to point out the obvious. "We are waiting until the company arrives." A big frown appeared on Handel's face. "Then bring up the dinner prestissimo," he demanded, slamming his fist on the table. "I am the company." The servant's face flushed with embarrassment as he rushed off to get Handel's dinner for 3.
I feel you, Mr. Handel. My owners, they never feed me until after they've eaten, and they only give me enough food to last half a dog. I need like 3 dogs. Like, I am worth 3 dogs and they only give me half. So like, how can I even survive? It's a miracle I'm alive right now, you know? Hey, that rhymes.